Now what's up? What's up? Yeah, got him.
You have a rematch plans against Devin Haney. Are you looking to show him something?
Oh yeah, I'm willing to show him. I cannot wait. You know, I want to put a whooping on his dad too. That's really who I want to put a whooping on. But Devin could get it as well again. I'm gonna do the same thing just like I did.
With Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney arriving for their upcoming fights, tensions have reached a boiling point, resulting in a heated brawl. Although Garcia and Haney are not scheduled to fight each other at this time, that didn't stop them from trading verbal shots and even getting physical during a recent press conference. On the upcoming card, Garcia is set to face Rolando "Rolly" Romero, while Haney will be taking on Jose Ramirez.
His boxing ability, in my opinion.
You think Take's a better boxer? Forget power.
Yeah, I think he's a better boxer. You know, like strategic mind. I think Tank is better. I was one of the best in the amateurs.
Right.
I lost one fight to a guy that's arguably one of the best in the world, and he had a weight gain me, and he had to fit a rehydration clause, and all that shit.
Ryan Garcia continues to claim that the entire PED controversy was a setup intended to discredit his win over Devin Haney. In an interview with Ring magazine, Garcia alleged that the plan was premeditated by Team Haney, suggesting they wanted an excuse ready in case Haney lost. What raised major red flags for Garcia was that Haney's brother allegedly knew about the positive test result before it was made public. To Ryan, that was proof that something suspicious was happening behind the scenes. "I felt that I won the fight no matter what," Garcia said. "I think that was a setup in case they lost." When Garcia made his theory public, things got tense between the two fighters. Haney challenged the logic, asking, "How could you set it up?" Garcia quickly fired back, "How do you know?" implying that Haney was avoiding the real question. How did his team know about the test results before anyone else? Haney tried to brush it off, claiming he didn't know anything. But to Garcia, the timeline didn't add up. He believes this wasn't a coincidence. It was damage control from Team Haney, planned before the fight even took place.
If I didn't take steroids, it's not gonna be much different. I mean, the crazy thing is they wanna like keep on saying, "Oh, it's because of the PEDs, it's because of the PEDs. I was on fighting a guy with PEDs." PEDs don't help you block a left hook.
While Ryan Garcia remains fixated on Devin Haney, his opponent on May 2nd, Rolando "Rolly" Romero, believes he could derail those plans by replicating the success he had against Garcia in sparring 8 years ago. Rolly hasn't forgotten those sessions and sees this as his opportunity to change the narrative. He might be seen as the underdog by some, but in boxing, one clean shot can change everything. During the press conference, things got even more stirred up when DAZN's Todd Grisham posed a pointed question to Jose Ramirez, one that didn't sit well with Devin Haney. "A lot of people are going to wonder about the state of Devin Haney's chin after his fight with Ryan Garcia," Grisham remarked.
If anybody hits him, that might be the same results.
In terms of the rematch, you know, the whole world is waiting for this Haney fight, but he does have a fight with Jose Ramirez. You guys confident that he does win that fight against Ramirez?
Well, I mean, if he outboxes Ramirez, you know, there's a possibility that he'll survive, you know, but his chin has been tested and you've seen the results, you know.
Grisham then asked Ramirez directly, "Are you going to be able to test that chin?" Haney, clearly irritated, responded, "I don't understand what you mean by chin. I got up every single time. Against someone who was on PEDs. That shows I've got a chin." But Grisham wasn't backing down. He doubled down, suggesting that Haney getting up off the canvas had more to do with heart than actual durability. That remark didn't just provoke Haney, it sparked a reaction from his father. After the conference, Bill Haney, visibly upset, confronted Grisham in an interview, taking issue with the idea that his son's chin was even up for debate.
No, I'm not gonna test his chin. Of course I'm gonna. You know what I mean?
But do you think like he will actually not be able to get up from your punch?
Well, I feel like if I hit anybody from the, you know, from my weight class, or even all the way to like with the 160s, if I hit him with a solid shot right in the chin, I think anybody could go down. You know, it's boxing, you know, 8-ounce gloves.
The boxing world, however, is asking the same question, and so is Jose Ramirez. Ramirez's trainer, Robert Garcia, didn't hold back as they wrapped up training camp in Southern California over the weekend. The beating he took is not something you can just forget. Even if it was erased from BoxRec, Robert Garcia told Boxing Scene in an exclusive interview, "You can't ignore the fact Haney took a serious beating." That 3-knockdown loss to Ryan Garcia, Haney's most recent fight, was technically wiped from the record books due to the failed drug test. But within the boxing community, no one has forgotten what happened in the ring that night.
You are something that will lose weight.
Do you think Ryan was better versus you than
Yeah, for sure, because he had to train. He didn't have to train for Devin. He didn't have, look at his body. Look at his body versus when you fought me. And he told y'all he was drinking every night and all that type of stuff. Like, yeah. He was smoking and everything. Like, come on, bro. And Haney had him. In the first beginning of the fight, he had him. He just tried to press the issue and stay right there.
That performance, or punishment, depending on how you see it, has sparked serious questions about whether Devin Haney, now 31-0 with 15 knockouts, can handle the mounting pressure in the 140-pound division. His next test? Jose Ramirez, a former unified world champion with a record of 29-2 and 18 knockouts, who's entering this bout with something to prove. At 32 years old, Ramirez is looking to bounce back after a flat performance in a unanimous decision loss to Arnold Barboza Jr. last November. But this fight isn't just about belts, it's about redemption. Ramirez knows what's at stake.
Fight against Jose Ramirez, or did you prefer to fight Ryan Garcia straight away when you came back?
Of course, that's the big fight is Ryan Garcia, but I cannot look past Jose Ramirez. I know that he's a tough competitor. I know that he's coming to win. And to get to the Ryan fight, first we got to beat Jose Ramirez, and that's what I look to do.
I'm sure you've heard what some boxing fans are saying. They're thinking after that fight with Ryan Garcia, you may not be the same fighter you were that night. Are you going to be a different version of Devin Haney?
It's always in Jose's mind to win, said Robert Garcia, speaking before Ramirez's final sparring session on Saturday. He doesn't see this as a last chance, do-or-die situation. He always trains with heart. He's always in shape. But, Garcia added, after that last fight against Barboza, he does need to come out and deliver something spectacular, not for us, because we already believe in him, but for the boxing world. He needs to remind everyone that he still belongs at the top. Ramirez himself is energized by the moment. Fighting outdoors in the middle of Times Square isn't your typical boxing venue, and for a former unified champion, the opportunity to reclaim the spotlight is powerful motivation. He's even looking ahead. If he beats Haney, there's a very real possibility that the highly anticipated fall showdown in Saudi Arabia shifts, from Garcia versus Haney 2 to Garcia versus Ramirez.
It's probably closer to the chinny side than having a granite chin. If we're looking at it on the spectrum, one end of the spectrum being Amir Khan, the other end of the spectrum being Triple G, he's definitely closer to the Amir Khan. I don't like that he's even having this discussion because we don't know Devin Haney for being a brawler. I don't want him to think about having a chin because his style is to not get hit. I think
Robert Garcia believes what he's seeing in training camp is a flashback to Jose Ramirez's prime. The days when he outclassed Amir Imam in 2018 and stopped Maurice Hooker in Texas to unify titles. There are no excuses about the Barboza fight. Arnold had a great game plan and deserved the win, Garcia said. But this camp is completely different. Jose is more motivated than ever. He's training hard, he's sparring like he was in his prime. Garcia added, even when he lost that undisputed title fight to Josh Taylor, the camp was strong, but this one feels special. His sparring partners are talking about how powerful he is. We can feel it. This is a whole different energy.
If Devin Haney loses this fight, career over. He has the most pressure in the sport of boxing.
Ain't that what they said about Wilder? Ain't that what they said about AJ? Every time somebody is in a position to lose back to back, we automatically think your career is over, but the career won't be over.
Devin and Bill have placed high expectations on themselves. They want to be compared to Floyd Money Mayweather.
If Ramirez can get in there and make it gritty, Haney's gonna have to bite down on that mouthpiece and dig deep.
Despite the talk from Ramirez's camp, odds makers still have Devin Haney as the heavy favorite, listed at minus 1,200. The expectation is that Haney will use his signature movement, avoid toe-to-toe exchanges, and cruise to a decision win. But the big question remains, can Haney really avoid another war, especially against a pressure fighter like Jose Ramirez? Devin's going to want to box, Robert Garcia said. But our job is to force him into a fight. That's where we win. Taking on someone like Ramirez says a lot about Team Haney. They could have picked an easier opponent after the loss to Ryan, but they didn't, Garcia said. They chose Jose, who's tough as hell, because they want to prove they still belong among the top names in the division. He added, even in that fight with Ryan, Devin was still competitive. Ryan's just very fast and very strong. He caught him, but it was still a close fight. Haney has been preparing at Hall of Famer Shane Mosley's Big Bear Lake Gym in California. The irony, Mosley was never known for fighting off the back foot. He was a pressure fighter through and through.
Yeah. Watch it. Watch it. May 2nd. May 2nd. Yeah. It was a good training camp. Good discipline. Good training camp. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not gonna miss weight. Don't worry. Yeah. I'm not gonna miss weight. Yeah. I know. We'll see you May 2nd.
The fact that Devin Haney, a fighter known for his defensive brilliance, chose to train at Shane Mosley's old camp might signal a shift in mindset, or at least a willingness to dig deeper this time around. Robert Garcia openly wondered what Haney hopes to gain from that environment. Everyone in boxing is asking the same thing. What version of Haney are we going to see? Garcia said, we ask ourselves that too, and we just don't know. Is that beating he took still in his head, or has he cleared it out after a year off?
He's undisputed. He needs to fight all the ones that are champions up there so he can really say he's undisputed. Because right now, he's undisputed, but he needs to fight all the guys up there and beat all those guys, and then we can say he's undisputed. He's undisputed, but I mean, we can really say it, pound for pound, all that stuff. I think that the difference is that when we were coming up, we want to go for knockouts and want to finish the fight and
Garcia went on to express genuine respect for the Haney camp's decision-making. We'll see how it plays out, he said. But I'll give credit where it's due. Devin and Bill Haney could have taken an easier opponent. They didn't. That says a lot. He also took note of the Mosley connection. It's interesting they brought Shane Mosley into the mix. I know Shane well, from the amateurs to the pros. He was a great fighter, a smart fighter, and always came to fight. So I'm really curious to see what Devin takes from that experience.
Get up 3 times from a left hook from Ryan Garcia. Everyone knows that. Who's gotten up 3 times? Huh? So what do you mean he doesn't have a chance? I mean, that guy he's a piece of shit.
You're talking about Todd Grissom?
Yeah, Todd Grissom.
I was gonna say, I feel like this.
At this point, the lines are clearly drawn. Ryan Garcia is treating May 2nd as a tune-up for an eventual rematch with Haney. Devin Haney, despite intense media scrutiny, remains focused on redemption, on proving he's still the division's most composed and skilled tactician. But the build-up has been anything but composed. Every quote, every stare down, every accusation, from PED allegations to questions about Haney's chin to Rally Romero claiming he already got the better of Garcia in past sparring, has only fueled the fire. The rumored October rematch in Riyadh is already shaping up to be a massive storyline. But to get there, both Garcia and Haney must survive what lies ahead. And judging by the intensity rising around both fights, it's unlikely either man emerges unscathed.
You want that rematch with Ryan Garcia? Is that something that's like, man, I gotta get that back?
He was right here. I get it back right now. Because it's just, if somebody did you like that, you want to take it. Because I did that already. I tried to do it fair. I tried to, it was 3-3 since the amateurs. I tried to give you that, that another fight, and we was even. We was drug tested. We was on even playing field.
The tension between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney has done more than just damage records and pride. It's cast a long shadow over Haney's future. As he prepares to face Jose Ramirez, the concern from boxing insiders is growing louder. Oscar de la Hoya didn't hold back when assessing Haney's post-Ryan condition. To him, this isn't just about losing a fight. It's about losing a part of yourself in the ring. And that, he said, is far harder to recover than a title belt. De La Hoya questioned whether Haney's once trusted chin is now permanently compromised. This isn't about skill, he warned. It's about physical wear. And in boxing, once your chin goes, it never really comes back.
I understand what you mean by chin. I got up every single time against somebody that was on 4 times. So
I'm sure if I land a solid one with Devin Haney, I'm gonna put him down.
Yeah, my dad's gonna take the W.
W? Knockout?
Yeah.
Oscar De La Hoya made a chilling point. Heart and toughness can only take a fighter so far when the structural foundation starts to crack. Haney showed remarkable resilience in getting up from those 3 knockdowns Ryan Garcia delivered, but De La Hoya warned that the very courage fans admired could now be a double-edged sword. Courage doesn't stop concussions, he said bluntly.
Ramirez has everything it takes to beat Devin Haney. I think Devin Haney can beat him if he's not gunshot, because like Ryan said, hey, you know, when he was talking about all that Ostarine shit, he said the Ostarine make you not be able to block a left hook 1,000 times, because people can say what they want to say talking about Ryan take accountability. Devin, how about you take accountability? You said this guy's a C-class fighter. All he has is the left hook. 45 seconds in, those 45 days that you did not fast for Ramadan, you got smacked by a left hook. The one punch that you said this guy had. You were supposed to prepare for that. Did you not? What happened? Oh.
It also doesn't harden soft tissue. And if Haney steps into the ring against Jose Ramirez still carrying the psychological baggage from that beating, the doubts could be louder than any crowd. Can I take his power? Will I crumble again? Is this the night I get exposed for good? According to De La Hoya, these questions aren't just hypothetical. They're likely living rent-free in Haney's mind. And if they creep in at the wrong moment, they could cost him everything.
I still think Devin Haney can beat Ryan Garcia.
Oh yeah, I do.
Don't fight that type of style. Don't stand right in front of him.
Yeah.
Do your Devin Haney, and get out of there.
And that's what you do with rematches. You find everything you did wrong. You know it instantly after the fight's over. You come back and you right those wrongs. I do believe that it's a rematch that he will win. I think we talked about this time and time again. I think it's a rematch that both guys really need to have.
Jose Ramirez, for his part, isn't walking into this fight to play the role of a stepping stone in Haney's comeback story. His trainer, Robert Garcia, believes they've found the new Achilles heel, Haney's chin, and they plan to test it early and often. Ramirez is no Ryan Garcia. He doesn't take long breaks. He's not in there to finesse his way to a win. He'll be in Haney's face every second of every round, pressuring, throwing heavy shots, walking him down. Robert Garcia wants to rip at that weak spot like a hammer striking a cracked wall. And De La Hoya compared Haney's chin to a crumbling brick structure, each shot landing like a chisel, slowly turning that foundation into rubble.
People are going to wonder about the state of Devin Haney's chin after his fight with Ryan Garcia. Are you going to be able to test that chin?
Of course I'm going to test the chin. That's my job, you know. Even if it was 31-0 31 knockouts, my job is to test his chin.
De La Hoya's concerns don't come from hate. They come from hard-earned experience. He's seen it before. Fighters who looked untouchable one year becoming viral knockouts the next. One bad night against the wrong opponent can age a fighter 5 years. And in De La Hoya's eyes, that's exactly what happened to Haney against Ryan Garcia. If Haney doesn't survive this Friday, the story of his downfall might already be underway. Because even if Ramirez doesn't knock him out, Haney's future doesn't get easier. There's a gauntlet waiting at 147. Fighters who are stronger, younger, and even more ruthless. And Haney can't return to 140 without pushing his body to the brink. He's trapped in the lion's den now, and the predators smell blood.
Stepping, and you know what? By the grace of God that it be, that's why we're sitting here with all these great, wonderful champions, all right?
Well, Devin, how do you feel that you have a fight and there's already another fight booked, the rematch with Ryan? Does that bother you?
If I don't win that fight, then I don't get to the Ryan fight. So that's my main focus right now.
Find a way for you.
Teddy Atlas is treading carefully with his support for Devin Haney. While he's officially picking Haney to win, there's clear hesitation in his tone. Atlas points out that Haney's had a full year to recover from the beating he took against Ryan Garcia. On paper, that should be enough. Haney's resume, outside of that one brutal night, shows a skilled technician who controls range with his jab, frustrates opponents with movement, and leans on clinch work when needed. But Atlas added a chilling reality check: you can't bandage the brain. Time alone doesn't guarantee neurological recovery. If Haney suffered deeper trauma in that fight, no layoff, no matter how long, can erase the consequences. Some wounds don't heal with rest.
I'm going to go the opposite direction. I'm going to say he showed a pretty damn good chin. Getting hit with a bigger guy, a really good puncher. Yeah, he got dropped 5 times, 4 times, 3 times. You know, whatever you want to really figure it out, because it was hard to figure out. But at the end of the day, if he doesn't have a pretty damn good chin and a great amount of heart, you know, and resistance and mental toughness, he doesn't survive that fight. I know there was a lot.
Atlas did acknowledge that Jose Ramirez comes into this fight with his own wear and tear. But he made a sharp distinction. Ramirez's damage is mileage, the kind that builds over a career. Haney's, Atlas warned, is trauma, the kind that comes from a sudden, violent crash. And trauma doesn't just fade. It replays. It lingers. It eats away at a fighter long before the first punch is thrown. That's the difference. Ramirez, for all his limitations, steps into the ring without psychological baggage. Haney, on the other hand, may still be haunted by the ghosts of Ryan Garcia. If his focus isn't fully on the man in front of him, if he's still looking over his shoulder at the past, this could spiral fast. At the heart of both Atlas and De La Hoya's analysis is a grim truth about boxing. The ring never forgets. It remembers every clean shot, every cracked rib, every brutal round, and sometimes it demands payback.
Garcia handled Devin Haney, to me personally, doesn't call for a rematch. Once Ryan gets back in action, once Ryan gets back in rhythm, and maybe has a tune-up fight, possibly in late April or maybe early May, then I want to throw him in there with the very best. And I'm thinking top of my head, Teofimo Lopez or even Boots Ennis or whoever the very best is. And, you know, I mean, we still have...
Fighters don't always come back whole. That's the brutal truth hanging over Devin Haney right now. If Jose Ramirez touches him early, if he sees even a flicker of that same flinch, that same moment of hesitation Ryan Garcia exposed, he won't back off. He'll press the gas. He'll go for the kill. Because at this level, there's no mercy. Not for a wounded technician whose defense may no longer be enough. That's why Oscar De La Hoya's analogy hits so hard. The wall doesn't crumble from one punch, it crumbles from the 1,000th. And Garcia might have just landed number 998.
I get annoyed. I've actually heard a couple of people say Ryan got Devin's number. And I'm like, how? How do you come out of your mouth and say he has Devin's number? He doesn't. That was one fight, one time, big moment. We know what was involved, but I truly believe that Devin Haney beats Ryan Garcia in the rematch. I truly think that Devin is the better boxer. I think that Devin, when focused...
No one doubts Devin Haney's focus. No one questions his work ethic. His father's loyalty, unshakable. Ramirez's past accomplishments, undeniable. But in boxing, you don't fight based on what you were. You fight based on what's left of you. And whether Haney admits it or not, the heat from that Garcia loss still burns. Maybe it's hidden. Maybe it's buried under a year of silence, training, and public composure. But the damage, it's there. This Friday night, we find out the truth. Does Haney still have stone in his foundation? Or did Ryan Garcia expose the first cracks in a collapse that's only just beginning? What's your take? Drop it in the comments and hit subscribe, because this saga is just heating up.